Hey y'all, it's Sarah, and maybe you just finished watching the video for my corn dog and my fried chicken using something just as simple as a household Q-tip. And for this particular one, the fact that I've got this little plastic barrel Q-tip, this pink one, really comes in handy, and let's jump into why. So using my sushi mold, this one little here, I decided to make a couple sushi while I was at this, but you don't have to use it for sushi. That's just what I decided I was going to do. And we're going to make some add-ons for that. So taking just one of these plastic barrel Q-tips, and it doesn't maybe necessarily have to be pink. Maybe one of the white ones would work for the way I'm doing this. But I'm going to start with taking just some mini bursts clear resin, and I'm going to just dip my little Q-tip down into some of that. You don't even have to dip. You can take a little paintbrush like this and swirl it around, and we're just going to maybe brush down any fuzzy spots that we can. And there might be a few fuzzy spots when you do your first layer, and that's okay. They're going to kind of vanish as we go. So I picked one of the less full Q-tips for this, just so they'd be small enough. My next step before I've even cured any of this is I'm coming in with like a little yellow chalk. I don't know why I pick yellow. I just always tend to. And while that's still damp, I'm just brushing a little of that yellow down in there. Pink would work, or a salmon color would work. But since I want these golden looking, like really golden brown, crisp looking, I'm tossing a little yellow on there. So at this stage, before I go in with my sand like I did before, I'm just going to go ahead and do this part because I don't want it necessarily as thick as I did for the corn dog or the chicken. So I'm running it through the lamp after the resin with a little bit of yellow. But like I said, you don't have to do the yellow because we'll still add some color in just a few moments. So that first layer is slightly hardened there on my Q-tips. Now I'm going to do the same thing with my resin over the ends. I'm brushing a little more on. Just like that. This one's kind of stretched itself out a little, but I think it'll be fine. And I'm doing both ends at the same time. You could do them one at a time if you're worried about it. I'm doing both ends at the same time. And once I get a little resin on that, just enough for it to collect some of our sand. We don't want the batter on this one super thick. So I've got just enough to get our sand. And I think rather than dipping this, I'm going to sprinkle it on. And we'll sprinkle on the other side. And this is just filler sand, just basic beige filler sand. And now that I've got it sprinkled on there, you might want to take like a little wax paper or something that you've got to the side that you can roll that around if you've got any stray parts still sticking out, any of the little cotton pieces. And it should still stick down because I haven't cured this yet. And I'm just spinning it around there to make sure everything's stuck down. And that's kind of what it looks like. So this is what it looks like now that it's been cured in my light again. And you can kind of see. So this next step, you can use some artist chalk if you happen to have those in your stash. If you've got some old eyeshadows, some just clearance eyeshadow like this one here. And you can see there's some golden colors in this one. And I've got some colors here. I'm looking for something sort of kind of in the orangish yellow range. And I'm going to tap that on there, very similar to the other guys, just to fill in any of those blank spots. And I'll do that on both ends. So that's kind of the golden color I got to. And my next step is to cut these down. And I'm using just some clippers. And I'm leaving a little bit of the plastic end, or for me it's going to be the pink side. But I'm going to leave a little of that right there at that end. And maybe you can see that again. I'm leaving a little of the pink exposed because I'm actually going to use that for the tail of my shrimp or my shrimp tempura. So maybe you can see it's got a little plastic there. So with that little plastic kind of in, I've got some needle nose, but regular pliers also tend to have that little pattern there inside. And on that really thin, light plastic, I'm going to squeeze down and kind of chomp into that. And you could take some kind of heat source, maybe a heat gun. I'm using my cute little cactus friend, and I'm going to heat that up a little bit. And just kind of curving it upwards like how a shrimp tail curves upwards. So at this point, I've got something like this. Somewhere in there, if you chomped hard enough with whatever you were using to chomp it, you might have got your little stripe pattern, but I'm still coming in just with my clippers here into that plastic tail and just doing a bunch of clips across to make like some little separate areas so it'll spread out a little. And maybe that'll show. I'm hoping maybe you can see a little of that. So now I might come back in now that I've cut those apart and squeezed out a little more to get those line impressions in there. And it just kind of gave me a little tail. Now at this point, I still happen to have the same markers I've had all day sitting beside me, messing with other things. So this is a light orange, but I also have salmon pink, something like that. I'm hitting right at the base of my tail with that little bit of salmony color. And I might even, me personally, and I'm really trying to get that guy to focus. It is so small. I might even come with one of my furniture markers that I like so much and hit the very tips of those little tail bits and just darken those up a little like they've been in the fryer for tempura. And now I have this cute little shrimp, and I'm going to toss these on top of my sushi bits. There you go. That's my finished result. You can see my cute little fried shrimp tempura. They're all a little attached to my sushi bits. And I think they turned out super cute, especially doing the very same things and the very same supplies that I was using for the other pieces. If you've got any questions, give me a shout down below and I will try to do my best to answer them and bring more of this stuff to you. Bye, y'all.